Alright everybody, here we go with game number 3. Before we started this game, my TO, the tournament organizer, came up and told us both that this would be the final round, as we both had a sufficient lead on everyone behind us, that whoever won this game would basically be taking top prize. So my opponent gets to go first, and here is his team. He's running Big Entrance and Polymorph. He's got a surprisingly similar team setup to mine. He's got Pim Particles, same Pim Particles I have, Justice, same thing, Namorita is the common one, Iron Fist. He's got Hercules. He's got the one die of a Punisher. He's got 3 Miss Marvels and 4 Deathlocks. I don't know why he brought 4 Deathlocks, but that's what kept falling to him. He's got the really good Deathlock, though, so that one's definitely something to be worried about. Big Entrance plus all of this stuff can definitely spell disaster for me. So if he gets that rolling early, then I have some problems. And he bought Big Entrance turn 1. Didn't put it in his bag, though. So I'm going to pay all 4 for a Superhero Registration Act. That 4th die goes into his used. He can't use that because we have no pertaining globals to the board state. He puts out a sidekick, pays 3 for another Big Entrance, and puts it in his bag this time. Passes that over to me. A lot of bump and table action. It's not so fun. Got 4 energy of sort of random variety. Nothing super duper big. Man, I guess the game that's over on my left there is really heated because it's getting a lot of table bump. So here I have a really tough choice to make. Do I try to take that same gamble that I made last game and buy another SRA? Or do I buy a couple of characters? Because I can actually buy 2 Justices here. I don't have any sidekicks on the board, but they just act as bodies. They won't get the buff, but they act as bodies. So I have kind of 2 ways I think I can go with this. He's got 2 Big Entrances, which means he invested 3. Looks like I end up going with the Superhero Registration Act. So this is some really tough decisions to be made here in the final game of this tournament, because essentially we both know that we're playing for about $100 to $150 worth of prize support cards. This is bad for him, and that's good for him. So rolling 2 Big Entrances with 2 energy to spend is pretty terrible, but rolling 2 Big Entrances with 4 energy to spend is much better, because he's going to pick up the Hercules right away there. That goes into his bag, and I am extremely far behind. That gamble that I just took last turn of picking up 2 SRAs so far doesn't look like it's paying off. Especially not if I roll it this turn, if I don't roll it this turn. It does not come up. So I'm hurting, I think. Got 4 energy here. I could split that generic and pick up 2 Justices. That's not a bad play here because I have 2 shields, technically. And I already have 1 sidekick out in the field, so I'm possibly getting the buff if I roll a sidekick next turn. But the fact, and that's what I do, but the fact that I didn't roll that SRA means that I am behind pretty big in ramp. Luckily for me, he does not draw his Hercules, meaning he can't buff that sidekick or this sidekick that he rolled. Not yet, at least. So sidekick comes out. He's going to pay 3. And he's going to pick up one of those Namoritas. Luckily for me, because he used both Big Entrances in 1 turn, he can't have a really solid buy turn following up that first one. I do pick up SRA here. Let's see if I roll it. No, 2 generic again. So I'm going to obviously go for that reroll. And, good, it hits. So I'm going to use that. He's going to KO one of his sidekicks to make me draw and roll 2 dice instead of 3. So 2 dice is better than no dice. I'd rather churn through that bag than have 2 generics sitting there. I have 5 energy here, so I can do a couple of things. I can pay 3, and it looks like I am paying 3. Pick up a Ronin. That's a good defensive die, allowing me to probably stabilize here if I can get it out. Also depends on his Hercules roll, because that Hercules is going to come out next turn. Now here the other question is, do I spin the 2 to pick up a Pim Particles, or is that overloading my bag? Because I know I'm not going to be drawing an SRA. Alright, that's not true. I don't know I'm not going to be drawing an SRA, but there's a possibility that I don't draw it and I instead get a useless Pim Particles. So I elect not to spend that 2 energy, let it burn, with the hopes that I can lower my bag count overall. Alright, so he does not roll the Hercules now. He does have a Namorita though, so if he re-rolls this Hercules and it comes up, then I'm in a world of hurt. I've only got one blocker. Oh, thankfully it lands on its one fist side instead of the two fist side. So he's left with 3 energy instead of 4, which is good for me because he can't buy an Iron Fist with that. He could still buy a Justice or a Namorita. And he is representing some board presence and some damage if he chooses to swing with it. Looks like he doesn't. He passes over to me, so I'm going to refill my bag. I've got a lot to go into that bag, so it's going to take me a little while unless I can draw and combo some of this SRA stuff. No SRA this turn, but possible board presence to counteract, and it does come up, and a sidekick, so that's actually really good. So it seems like the early buy of Hercules didn't pay off with that roll problems that he had. Here I've got 2 energy, I've got a shield and a mask, and I'm in the same boat. Do I buy a 2-cost Pym Particles that's not going to serve me any purpose because I have nothing to attach it to? And the answer is no, so I pass over to my opponent. He pulls the exact same combination of dice that he pulled turn 3, and rolls it basically in the same way that it did last time, except that sidekick, and that sidekick becomes a shield. So he's left with 4 energy and a big entrance. So he's going to use big entrance. He's got 4, so he can buy a 5-cost, and he picks up a Miss Marvel. It's a pretty decent stat line for a 5-cost. In fact, it's a very good stat line for a 5-cost. Slightly better stat line than the Taskmaster from this same set, that 5-cost Taskmaster. Of course, Taskmaster I'd probably put up higher because it has an ability. Don't roll Justice here, so I'm going to want to re-roll that. Or I could save it, pay 5. Ooh, looks like I am going to save it and pay 5. Pay 5 for my own Hercules. Apply a little counter pressure. Especially if I can get, because I know I have 2 SRAs sitting in the bag still. Don't attack, so my opponent pulls out his Miss Marvel and pulls out his Hercules. So this is one of those turns where I'm really worried. Miss Marvel comes up. Hercules on the 2-cost or the 2-fist side. So he's let's see if he's going to re-roll it. If it goes the 1-fist side again, or if he gets a character this time. Chooses not to re-roll it, elects not to do so, instead picks up a Justice. Not sure that's the right play, but I can understand it being burned the first time of that roll. And just being able to pick something up is pretty nice. So the question is Justice or Namorita. And he's going to add it Justice there. And then he's going to attack with Miss Marvel. So here I could take damage. I think it's a 4. So I take the 4, dropping to 16. That's probably a pretty good take, I think. I have 2 SRAs, 1 Ronin, and a sidekick, and both SRAs land. So he's going to be in a pickle trying to decide whether or not he wants to KO his characters. Don't get the Ronin, so that's not too great, but it's nice to be able to basically churn through my bag. He's going to KO, meaning I'm only going to draw 2. Nothing in my bag, so I refill everything. Pick up 2, roll 2, just some more energy. And again, this energy isn't super important outside of me being able to buy a Captain Marvel with it if I can land 1 more energy, literally. He KOs, so I draw 2. Roll 2 cost, or a 2-fist, and a Hercules. Well, that's really good for me. So I'm going to pay 1 to field that Hercules. And then here I have 6, exactly 6 to buy a Captain Marvel. So in this game I've been able to stabilize, I've been able to apply counter pressure, force him to KO his characters, pick up both my big finisher characters, if you will, and now I'm making him decide whether or not he wants to block and lose his character, while I keep mine on the board. So I've certainly applied applied some counter pressure, I guess is the best way to put it. So here he has the big entrances again. This time they've still rolled that same 2 generic and 1 action face side. Doesn't get his what is that card called? Justice, that's right. Doesn't get his Justice to land, so he's probably going to want to reroll that. It's on its lowest face, so it can't get any worse. He's kind of in a bad spot because he wants to field that sidekick and that Namorita. Looks like he doesn't want to re-roll that Justice though. He needs blockers. Paying 2 for a 3 cost. I'm guessing it's going to be another Namorita. No, it looks like he's picking up a polymorph. So that's actually a really smart play because if there's something sitting in my used, he can polymorph out my big characters like Hulk or Captain Marvel at an opportune time for him. 4 from my bag. Justice comes out. Another sidekick, which is actually good to keep here because of the buff ability of Hercules. He's like a more expensive, not as good half-elf bard. So I've got 2 energy left. Do I go the Pym Particles route? Or do I just let them burn? I think the wise choice here is to just continue to let those burn. Swing at him with 2 buffed up Justices. He's going to double block, which is going to double KO his characters, leaving my board intact as well. He's got 6 dice to roll. One of those is a polymorph. Polymorph won't work here. I have nothing in my used pile. So not so good for him, actually. He's got 7 energy, so he could technically pick up a Deathlock. That would be such a slow buy, though. It would slow him down a ton. Really, he needs to reroll for characters and sidekicks. Well, he didn't have that, actually. Sorry, it looked like Namorita was on a energy side, but it's actually not. He fields the Namorita. I would have probably rerolled just about everything just to get more sidekicks to prevent an all-out swing next turn if something comes up that allows me to do so. And that would probably do it if I could land it. Here's 2 SRAs. And both of them as generics and 2 sidekicks. Look at that, that's interesting. I'll probably actually keep those sidekicks because if either of those SRAs land, then the sidekicks just go out and become attackers, and anything that I want to field, I can probably land with the SRAs. Plus 2 generic if it comes up that way. So just reroll those. And double action faces, so I field those sidekicks out immediately. He does not KO his single character, so I roll 3. And I land the Captain Marvel, and I land a Ronin. So things are looking pretty good here. He's not going to KO his character. I only have 2 dice anyway, and another sidekick comes up, so that's just insult to injury because at this point I clearly have him. 6 1/1s become 6 3/2s, and a bunch of Justices, 2 Justices. It's pretty much just 24, 25, some crazy big amount of damage. No matter how he blocks, he can block either of those 2 largest characters, or he could KO his Namorita. But everything else that's going in unblockable basically has him. So that was a really tense game for me at first, with the way that rolls were going, and with his momentum being so large early on, being able to pick up an early Hulk, or excuse me, an early Hercules. I really didn't think I had a chance in that game, especially going second. But again, no matter how he blocks, even just the sidekicks is 18 damage. So we say GG, and I am able to pick up a 3-round victory in this tournament. All 3 rounds I'm able to pick up, and I take first place in the tournament, which is, for me, it was super exciting, and it was a whole lot of fun to play. Especially because these are the prize support cards that I was able to get off of it. Really good Melinda May, a nice little alternate art Loki. We've got this alternate art Blink, which is pretty cool, And my personal favorite, and obviously the most expensive of the cards, is the alternate art, full art Hulk there, which that's one of my favorite cards already, is that Hulk Green Goliath. So having the alternate art version of it really makes me happy, and I just enjoy that card. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching these videos. I enjoyed making them. I enjoyed playing in the tournament, so thank you, Game Closet, for getting the prize support and allowing us to play. I thought it was a really fun draft. I thought it was enjoyable that we had to draft sort of outside of the box with such large cost characters. This seemed like a really good set to do the draft with. It seemed balanced, and there were some really fun combos in it. So I hope you guys enjoyed these videos, and I'll be making more of these soon. Thanks for watching.